everyone, hope you're having a happy Halloween. So back in elementary school, kids around me always had this secret scary story. This story would only get whispered at the playgrounds or told somewhere in secret because kids at my school had uncovered the story and they had said that it was the most frightening tale ever told. It wasn't, but we'll get to that. Kids at my school hyped this story up like it was the scariest thing you'll ever hear. A lot of times, if you asked someone to tell it to you, they'd say, no, you couldn't handle this story. And look, okay, just because I wet myself quite often doesn't mean I shouldn't get to hear the story, okay, Ron? But one day, someone told one of my friends, yes, I have those, the story, and I knew that this was my one chance to finally hear the scariest story ever told. So I built up the courage and asked my friend to hear the story, and he said, Carter, are you sure you can handle it? This story will horrify you down to your very soul. And after making sure I didn't have to use the bathroom, I said yes. And on that fateful day, I finally heard the scariest story ever told. And it was very overrated. It was a very overrated story. As a kid, after he told me the story, I was like, I don't think that's as scary as you think it is. But even as I've grown up, this story has stuck with me. And I've begun to realize something about this story. This story is freaking dumb. But before diving into why it's so dumb, I think it's time for you guys watching to finally hear this horrifying story. Are you ready to be spooked out of your mind? Because once you hear this story, there's no going back. You'll never sleep again. You'll never not be spooked. But if you have a brave soul that wants to continue down this path, then here is the scariest story ever told. Wait, no. Hold on. Here is the scariest story ever conjured. That's a scarier word. Hi. I heard y'all were in the business of wanting to hear a scary story. Well, on this Hallows Eve, y'all happen to be in luck, because today I am going to share with you the scariest story ever known to man. Let's dive in. It was a dark and cold Friday night. A little girl named Jamie prepared for bed. She brushed her teeth, got her bath, and then she pet her small little dog named Baxter. As she got into her bed and her mom kissed her goodnight, she went to bed with the comfort of knowing that her little Baxter was underneath her bed. But then, in the middle of the night, that comfort is broken when she hears a sound. She sits up anxiously, looks around, but sees nothing. But then, after seeing nothing, Jamie decides to do something a little interesting. She slides her little hand right down, right beside the bed, right where her little dog Baxter can see. And see, Jamie is a smart little girl. She's taught her dog Baxter a system. If Baxter knows that everything is okay, he'll lick her hand twice to alert her that everything's okay. I am aware that that sounds a little far-fetched, and pun very much intended because it's a dog. But for the story to work, just go along with this, okay? Please, with sprinkles on top. But she sticks her hand underneath the bed and Baxter licks it twice, meaning everything is just fine. And with Jamie now knowing that everything is just swell, she decides to go back to sleep. Sleep well. Then another jolt wakes Jamie up. This time she looks around even more, but still sees nothing. And suddenly this feeling of paranoia begins to grow deep in her soul. As she peacefully lays back down, she sticks her hand back underneath her bed, just hoping to find that comfort that has now been lost. To her luck, Baxter licks her fingers twice, meaning that everything is okay. So she feels safe enough to once again go back to sleep. So, as As she lays back down, she falls back into that nighttime slumber. But then, after a little time, the silence breaks when she hears a laugh. Now she sits up, fully on edge. She looks around for another few seconds, but still sees nothing. Then after a few moments of silence, she decides to make her way to her bathroom, just to freshen up. So she gets up out of her bed and begins to walk towards her bathroom, barely being able to see through the dark hallways. The darkness was so thick she thought she could almost feel it. But then, when she finally makes it to the bathroom, she is greeted to a terrifying sight. She sees her precious little dog Baxter brutally murdered on the floor, drenched in blood. And as she screams in horror, something else catches her eye. She turns and sees the mirror and realizes, in her own dog's blood, there's something written on it. And do you want to know what it says? Do you? The message in Baxter's blood says clowns can lick, too. Jamie then comes to a horrifying realization. A clown had broken into her house, killed her dog, got underneath her bed, and licked her fingers the whole time. And after realizing this, she turns to run to try to make a getaway. But as she looks, there in the doorway stands the clown himself with a gleamish smile spread across his horrid face. And at this very moment, Jamie made another realization. This was the end. Jeez. Oh, jeez. Sorry. Bright lights. Very bright lights. See, as a kid, after hearing that story, even I was like, that's... Like, you thought I was gonna pee myself over that? But years and years have passed, and I've had even more time to ponder this story. And every Halloween, I just think about the story again, and I'm like, this is so stupid. So now that Halloween is rolled around this year, I think it's time to dive into this story and really, and make fun of it, and make fun of the story. So first off, let's talk about something that I guess my entire grade overlooked. Like, are we just gonna move over the fact that she taught this dog this weird finger-licking system? Like, this little girl built an intricate system with her dog to lick her fingers twice when everything's okay. Maybe he should have just barked. You know? Like maybe he should have just barked like what normal dogs do. Like, woo, woo, woo. Like what dogs are supposed to do. Like, okay, like, I just can't figure out what is the mindset of the dog. Like, is this what the dog is thinking? Oh, jeez, someone just broke into the house. What should I do? Bark? No. Lick her fingers. But you know what? I can't call this story dumb without first trying it myself, because maybe teaching your dog this is possible. So let's go try. Hello everyone. Today we are putting science to the test. We're really putting the test in scientists. In this scary Halloween story, this little girl has taught her dog an intricate system where the dog licks her fingers when there's an intruder or something wrong. So I'm going to bring in my dog Jake, and we're going to put this myth to the test. Is this story actually possible? Am I wrong for making fun of it? Because maybe it's accurate. So you know what? Let's go get my dog, and we're gonna put this to the test, and put this to the science test. I'm sitting here, reading my book with my dog, and then all of a sudden, a no good scallywag, a no good doer-deeder, a bad dude. Now, I do not see this suspect. Luckily, my dog is here to warn me. Luckily, my dog is here to warn me. Jake, that's your cue. That's your cue. That's Jake. Now is a good
boy.
That's not Jake. Oh!
Here's a good boy. You wanna come with me, Jake? Come on, buddy. Come on, Jake. Let's go, buddy.
Seriously? 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 Like, for real? Wow.
Betray me! He likes me better.
Well, that was a rousing success. Anyways, let's move on to more plot holes in the scariest story ever told. So this murderer clown breaks into this house, and instead of doing like what murderers typically do, like he instead just gets under her bed for hours. What was his game plan? And then he proceeds to make 2 noises that were loud enough to wake Jamie up. So like, he's not very stealthy. And then after making 2 accidental noises and then laughing, I guess, then he licks the person's fingers? If he's a murderer, why didn't he just go stabby, 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 stabby?
This is very effective.
Also, did the clown study the dog? How did he know to lick the fingers, and how did he know what that meant? Like, how did he know that? Did he take notes?
Yes. Okay. I know what to do. Lick the fingers. Yes. Yes.
So let me get the timeline of this straight. So he licks her fingers, then he leaves, so he gets out from underneath the bed. He goes and he kills the dog. Then he writes the message on the mirror, then laughs, so then the girl goes to the bathroom, and then she sees the message that says the clowns can lick too. And then she turns around, and then he kills her. So what was the point of writing the message? Like, why did he spend the time to kill the dog, write it in blood, and then just so she could see it, and then be like, oh, and then he murders her? Like, why? He could have just told her. Like, why did he waste that much time? So looking back at this story that spread through my school faster than the lice incident, seriously, don't ask. It was just not scary. It was so dumb. And I think the only reason that kids thought it was scary was because at the time, the scariest thing they'd seen was like the hash-slinging slasher episode of SpongeBob. I don't know why people were so afraid of the story. This video was kind of bizarre, I know, but I just really wanted to talk about this dumb Halloween story. And if anyone else has heard a similar scary story, or has heard another dumb Halloween story, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to read it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. See you later.